Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here, your source for gaming, tech, emulation, and open source news. Let's get started. Alright, to kick things off, we're talking about PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 emulation with RPCSX. And it turns out that RPCSX has made some surprise progress in the PS5 space. So according to a recent post over on Twitter, it appears that RPCSX is getting into the PS5 safe mode menu. Yes, this isn't emulating anything like Astrobot just yet, but at the same time here, in my opinion, this is a very big step forward. Everything has to start somewhere, and I would say this is huge progress. And speaking about progress, next up we're talking about Nintendo DS emulation with melonDS, and melonDS just released version 1.0 RC. RC stands for Subscribe to Mr. Sujano, or Release Candidate, depending on how you wanted to interpret that. Now, since this is a release candidate, it's not necessarily considered a stable version, and there may be issues. There is a disclaimer right here. They say we have done a thorough round of testing and bug fixing, but there is always the chance that further issues went unnoticed. This release will be the occasion to catch them and fix them for the actual proper 1.0 release. It appears the biggest part about this update is the core refactor. They say we have undertaken a large and ambitious refactor of the melonDS core in order to make it possible to run multiple instances of the emulator within one single process. And as for what that means for the end user, it means that local multiplayer is easier to deal with. And they have added in as well LAN support, so if you have multiple people using melonDS over a local area network, you can play with them. On top of that, there's a brand new OpenGL renderer, and they say here this renderer brings together the best of both worlds, a graphical output that is very accurate, but at the same time support for upscaling and other improvements. The older GL renderer is still there, and they've also made software rendering improvements if you didn't want to use either. On top of all of that, there's a whole bunch of bug fixes. They've introduced multi-window support and R4 Revolution and M3 Simply support and even more. It may be worth checking out to learn more about it, and like everything I talk about, link will be in the description below right at the bottom. Next up, we're going up one generation here and talking about Nintendo 3DS emulation with the new 3DS emulator Athahar. And this emulator seems to be making some pretty significant improvements, like entering the eShop. So Pablo MK7 over on Blue Sky says entering the eShop is now possible. This required implementing some missing functionality requiring signing with the console unique certificate. Next step is to figure out how to install titles. There is an important note. Pablo MK7 says, remember that while it's not possible to buy games on the eShop anymore, you can still download bought games and demos as well as the updates. In terms of game preservation, this may be considered a very huge win. Let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below. And speaking about huge wins, next up we're talking about Nintendo and the Nintendo vs. Palworld case, as well as game modding and Grand Theft Auto 5. And it appears that this may not necessarily lead to a huge win for Nintendo. It may be a huge win for Palworld and arguably the modding community. Now, from my understanding, the whole Palworld versus Nintendo case relies on a lot of patents and patent infringement. And Video Game Esoterica has noticed something here that may just turn everything on its head. It turns out that prior art may include a mod that was in Grand Theft Auto 5 that allows people to catch Pokemon with actual Pokeballs. Now, it is worth pointing out here that I am not a lawyer, this is not legal advice, and I'm even less familiar with the law in Japan. Anyways, Video Game Esoterica points out something here I think is super interesting. Although it applies to the United States, I'm assuming in some way, shape, or form it applies in Japan. So according to the patent law in the United States, again not Japan, an invention cannot be patented if the claimed invention was patented, or described in a printed publication, or in public use, or on sale, or available to the public, before the effective filing date of the claimed invention. And this Grand Theft Auto 5 Pokemon catching mod was in public use and was also available to the public before the effective filing date of the claimed patent. Based on my understanding, this Pokemon mod for Grand Theft Auto 5 was released back in 2016, which is before Pokemon Legends Arceus was released and also before those patents by Nintendo were filed. And if this was in a US court, I think this would cause massive problems for Nintendo. I think their patents would be thrown out. I don't know here about Japan, but this may be very problematic for Nintendo and something they may have missed. I do recommend checking out Video Game Esoterica's video for a very detailed breakdown of the entire thing. Obviously, we're going to have to wait and see what happens about this one, but at the same time here, let me know your thoughts about all of this in the comments below. And let me know your thoughts about the modding community potentially being the reason if Nintendo can't beat Palworld. Next up, we're talking about a first-person shooter for the NES. I'm not joking with you here. For the original NES, someone has created a first-person shooter. And this one is called Slaughter, and it's up over on itch.io. They say here, 8-bit platforms deserve a higher class of ego shooter, and quick save should persist across system resets, but there's no battery-backed save. And passwords are coming soon. Taking a look under the download section, and there seems to be a whole bunch of different versions of this available. Like a bunch of other games on itch.io, you can run this game in your browser. If you've tried this game out, let me know your thoughts about it in the comments below. Let me know your thoughts about a first-person shooter on the NES. I mean, in my opinion here, it's very impressive. It looks pretty good for what it is, although it is a little bit disorienting at the same time. I mean, we're talking about the NES. And speaking about first-person shooters, next up we're talking about STALKER 2. Now this game has been highly anticipated. It has released and a lot of people are enjoying it. It does work on the Steam Deck, but apparently it works very poorly. Gaming on Linux has a very detailed review of this up, and I do recommend checking it out. Now, although I classify this game as an FPS, it's worth mentioning here Steam does not. They classify it as an action-adventure RPG. Anyways, taking a look at this game on Steam, it's got a very positive review score with almost 20,000 reviews. That is a lot in just a few days. I mean, at the time of filming, there are 94,969 people currently playing this game on Steam, with an all-time peak of people playing at the same time of 117,928. These numbers put the game just outside the top 10 for the current most played games on Steam. Not the all-time most played games, but the current most played games. And taking a look here, surprisingly, or maybe not surprisingly, Banana is sitting in 4th place. This game just keeps living on, and all you do with this one is click a banana. And speaking about Steam, next up we're talking about Virtua Fighter, and this one came to me as a bit of a surprise. I mean, I was expecting Virtua Fighter 6, especially after everything that Sega's been doing recently and everything they've been talking about. Anyways, here, Virtua Fighter 5 REVO has appeared on Steam as coming soon. So they say right here in the description, Virtua Fighter 5 REVO takes the gameplay of Virtua Fighter 5 and raises it to new levels. Rollback netcode support, gorgeous 4K visuals, and additional content make it the best version of the legendary game ever. Unfortunately, I don't know if crossplay is going to work with the PS4 version of this game. I'm assuming it may not because this may be a slightly different version of that game. I could be wrong. I'm hoping crossplay will be available to increase the player base. But at the same time here, I am probably going to pick this one up. I'm a huge supporter of fighting games. I like to play them a lot, and Virtua Fighter is right up my alley. This to me is, I don't want to say it's unnecessary. I mean, I've got the game on PlayStation, but at the same time here, I'm a little bit disappointed, not going to lie, that it wasn't an announcement for Virtua Fighter 6, but I'll take this. So Virtua Fighter 5 REVO or REVO, I don't know how they're pronouncing this one, will be released this winter. I don't have a specific date just yet. Let me know your thoughts about this one. Are you excited about this? Do you think it's unnecessary? And will you be picking it up? And speaking about exciting releases, next up here we're talking about Atari Jaguar emulation on iOS with BigPEmu. Now, we talked about BigPEmu yesterday when the official announcement was made that this emulator was heading to the App Store, and well, now it's here. There is a price tag attached to this one. It's $9.99, and some people might scoff at that. However, if I'm not mistaken, the main developer behind BigPEmu, Rich Whitehouse, is experiencing some pretty significant health issues and may have some pretty significant medical bills. I could be wrong about that, but I'm assuming that this $9.99 price tag is going to help fund paying some of those medical bills. Anyways, if you've got an iPhone, BigPEmu is, from my understanding, a very, very good Atari Jaguar emulation on iOS. It's been good on other systems, so I'm assuming now it's also going to be good on iOS. Next up, we're talking about Sega Saturn emulation with Yaba Sanshiro, and as a celebration for the Sega Saturn's 30th anniversary here, 30th birthday, there's a brand new version of Yaba Sanshiro that has been released. So at the time of filming, version 1.16.3 is the latest update for Yaba Sanshiro. And they say here they've migrated from Visual Studio 2017 to 2022. They've upgraded from Qt5 to Qt6, so it should look a little bit better. They've added a game browser interface. They've revamped SDL input handling to support modern game controllers. They've simplified the settings interface. They've improved full screen functionality. They've integrated Vulkan window into the main window, and various bug fixes and improvements. And speaking about Vulkan, there is a note here, and they say currently Vulkan core is not stable. Please use OpenGL core. So I think that's worth pointing out. Anyways, if you use Yaba Sanshiro, let me know your thoughts about this brand new version in the comments below. Next up here, we're talking about Guilty Gear Strive, and Guilty Gear Strive just got a brand new update with a change that I guess some people may not be happy with, and it's in regards to the photo mode. So if we take a look here, what they've done is they've changed the camera to make the models disappear if you try to view them at inappropriate angles. I'm not surprised about this one at all, and I don't know why people want to see this stuff, but anyways, it appears that this is the update. Don't know if this is a bug or a feature or what exactly is going on here, but some people seem to be extremely upset. I mean, this person here says, I am freaking disappointed of Arc System Works. F this game. I am so done with Guilty Gear Strive. I am sick and tired of this effing censorship. This game sucks anyway. We have all been betrayed. This person here calls it Guilty Gear Sensitive. Honestly here, I don't really care about the censorship piece. I mean, I don't use photo modes and stuff like that. I'm just there to play the game and enjoy it. Either way, I think the game is a solid fighting game. I think it's a lot of fun, and I really don't care about this kind of censorship. It doesn't really affect me, but it seems to affect quite a few people. Let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below, and I guess just keep it polite. Next up, we're talking about the Google Pixel Tablet 2. Now, yesterday we talked about the Google Pixel Tablet 3 being rumored to have been canceled. And the Pixel Tablet 2 hadn't even been released yet, and well, they were already canceling the Google Pixel Tablet 3. It turns out that the Pixel Tablet 2 might also be canceled. The large speculation is that poor sales of the Google Pixel Tablet is the reason that the Pixel Tab 2 may be canceled. Unfortunately, we don't know the firm answer just yet. Nothing's been officially communicated. These are rumors, but sometimes where there's smoke, there's fire. And speaking about not doing well, next up here, we're talking about something that's arguably doing the exact opposite, doing very well, and that's the Steam Deck. We're featuring gaming on Linux again in this video, but apparently here the Steam Deck OLED won Best Gaming Hardware in the Golden Joysticks Awards for this year. Now, I'm not going to lie here, I'm kind of surprised about that one, and pleasantly surprised. I figured the PS5 Pro would have won a category like that, given the fact that, well, Sony is huge, the PS5 Pro is new, and I think they'd want to push that narrative. Anyways, here it's nice to see the Steam Deck get some recognition, and in my opinion, some well-deserved recognition. Next up here, we're talking about the upcoming free-to-play action RPG Path of Exile 2, which a lot of people seem to be excited about. Anyways, this game is releasing on December 6th, and we've just got some brand new opening cinematics and gameplay trailers. The early access gameplay trailer is about 2 minutes and 39 seconds in length, and the opening cinematics trailer is 4 minutes and 58 seconds in length. And both of these have just dropped on YouTube. Like everything I talk about, again, link is in the description below. And taking a look at the comments here, and this is on the gameplay trailer, I hope they can handle all the traffic on the servers. And based on recent experiences with, for example, Microsoft Flight Simulator, this may be a problem. I'm curious to see how it works. I mean, it's a completely different company, a completely different situation here. And I'm assuming they're probably not going to make the same mistakes that Microsoft did. Anyways, another one says the character selection is insanely good. And this person says, this looks absolutely phenomenal. Heading over to the cinematic trailer, and here are the comments over there. Beautiful. I wasn't expecting Path of Exile 2 to have a cinematic like that. The game is free, and they uploaded this without ads. What a god-tier studio. Insane quality, 5 minutes felt like seconds, hype. And last up here, we're talking about Spotify, and according to an article over on Bleeping Computer, Spotify has been abused to promote pirated software and game cheats. This to me is super weird, but I guess not unexpected. So they say here, most recently a Spotify playlist with the title Sony Vegas Pro 13 Crack appeared to drive traffic to one or more free software sites listed in the playlist title and description. One of the many problems about this, and yeah, I mean many problems, is that a potential cybercriminal could see this as a great opportunity to distribute malware to unsuspecting people. And I'm assuming that's probably what's happening here. So we'll see what happens here moving forward for Spotify, but I do recommend checking out this article. There's a lot of really great information on there to possibly help you learn and avoid things like this. It appears that earlier on, Fortnite V-Bucks spammers found a way to involve Spotify podcasts as well. This to me is crazy. But anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and no fluff. We talked about a bunch today. Let me know your thoughts about absolutely any of it in the comments below. If you like this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button, check out my other videos. Don't tempt fate, save your state.